Valor Mogolis, everybody. Hypes Watch back again for another stream. This Tonight we got some talking about Game of Thrones news. Uh, we just got the news a few days ago that HBO has greenlit a pilot for a Game of Thrones prequel, and it's most likely going to either be called Long Night or the Age of Heroes, Golden Age of Heroes, something around there. We haven't gotten 100% confirmation at what it's going to be, but that's the time period that it's going to be based around. And my name
Well,
is
we haven't
Don
been given
Willie.
a title at all. It was actually George R. R. Martin who suggested the long night, but he doesn't think it's going to happen, which kind of gives us a clue of exactly what this series is going to be about. So,
Yeah,
but let's get the introductions first, and then
yeah. Thank you for interrupting the goddamn it. Anyway, my name is Don Willie, and with me tonight, got the crew as always. We have Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat. We have James Bichelle, and of course, Sir LT Giles. So, for those of you who are show watchers only and have absolutely no idea what the Age of Heroes is, pretty sure you've heard of the Long Night. It's when the White Walkers first came, but the Age of Heroes is time somewhere around 10,000 years ago when human beings and children of the forest made a pact where humans would stop cutting down weirwood trees and they would take up the old gods. What is called in the show is the old god. So, um, yeah, for
and it
those of
ended with
you,
the long night.
yes, and for those of you out there who might want more information on the Age of Heroes itself, you should pick up this book right here, The World of Ice and Fire, written by George R. R. Martin and our good friends at Westeros.org, Ilio and Linda. So, any thoughts on the possibility of
Well,
uh
the first thought actually I want to get is Mr. James Bouchel, who had the foresight to call that HBO would be picking this as their as what the prequel that would be their prequel choice. I want to get it. I want to get James's thoughts on what made him think that and what he expects kind of HBO to do with it and why they chose that.
Well, we knew for a fact they weren't going to do Robert's Rebellion, and we knew that they weren't going to do Duncan Egg. So that pretty much in my head, I mean, it narrowed it down to Dance with Dragons, or the Dance with Dragons, or I was thinking Long Night because I knew HBO's thinking would be that they would want to have some sort of uh, connection with with the series that we have now for the people because obviously HBO's executives thinks that for the most part, they think that the people are stupid, so they need to have some sort of connection, or it won't connect with the fan base. So my thought was, I don't think they're going to do Dance of the Dragons because I think maybe that it would as a spin-off that maybe having all that dragon CGI would be very expensive. I mean, because this is not just 3 dragons; it would be many dragons and many different dragon models that they would have to use. So I wasn't thinking that route. I was thinking Long Night because one, you can even have a specific character that they can bring back and the people connect with, that being the Night's King, the HBO iteration of the Night's King. So that was my logic to reason why I narrowed it down to the Long Night. I believe that was my logic. I wish we would have done the video back then when we were talking about it, but that I believe that was my logic to the reason why they were going to go with the Long Night.
I mean, it's pretty sound reasoning. There's is no reason to think that that's what they wouldn't do. So I mean, kudos to James and a round of applause for him being able to pick that one up before anybody. So
Right on.
Jerry, your thoughts on being show that we're
this is my thoughts being on the show that we're gonna get. Well, I am a bit surprised, but I also am not surprised. Um, I'm surprised because if you actually know and look at was what's been mentioned about the Age of Heroes, there really is. It's a completely different times. There's no Targaryens. There's no Dornish. There's no, well, not that they did the Dornish any good in the show. There's there's Starks, maybe, I'm pretty sure there's definitely going to be Starks in the show. In fact, I would wager huge money that this pilot will be very Stark heavy. Um, there will be, but things are so different. Like there's no Central Kingdom. There's Starks, even if there is Starks, Starks are just petty kings. We don't even know if Winterfell's there. Although I'm guessing HBO will bring back Winterfell, and I bet you they won't even try and make it look accurate to the age it is. It's probably going to be the same castle from. We're going to reuse the set again um, that they use in the show. So it surprised me that they're going that far back when there's so little of a lot of the things that we love from the show in it. But then again, it also has the potential for HBO to just do really whatever the hell they want. So I'll get onto about HBO's freedoms that they'll be doing in a little bit, but I think that was my first thought. They're going back here because they can play around. They don't really need George R. R. Martin too much input from George R. R. Martin at all. They can just do whatever the hell they want. It's almost not even a Song of Ice. It can almost not be a Song of Ice and Fire. I've called it. I've said that there's a good chance that it might be similar. This show might be to a Song of Ice and Fire to what Russell Crowe's Noah was to the Bible. So
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. You know what? I still haven't even seen it.
I mean, just same names and stuff, but vastly different. Everything's vastly different.
Okay. LT, your thoughts on this one?
That's funny. Jerry mentioned Noah. I never saw that movie either. Um, I have mixed feelings because I love the Game of Thrones show. Um, I mean, look at what it was in the beginning. It was epic. It was the best show I ever seen, and then as later it got later, and it's still good, but it just I feel like it went Hollywood, and it's not what it once was. It just I lost something, and I'm wondering like, what is this gonna be? I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be all unknown actors. That would be the way to go. I mean, I was joking with you guys in the chat, saying, "Oh, I got this scoop. The Stark's gonna be Tom Hardy," but I think they're gonna go unknown actors, similar to this show. A lot of the actors were unknown. I mean, a few we knew,
Question,
but
LT.
yeah.
Do you think that they will do, because they did do a lot of unknowns, but they did bring it all together by doing one known actor, Sean Bean, and then sort of like, do you think they'll have
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
one known actor to kind of
That
cement the
that
show?
yeah, I could see that. Um, what are my personal feelings? I don't know. I don't know what I'm anticipating. I don't really care about the Long Night. I don't really care about Azor Ahai. I mean, obviously the current story is what I'm interested in. I'm excited for when when's the winner. I feel like the past is a mystery, and I like it that way. And what are they gonna spoil? I mean, Jerry told me that when's the winner is gonna come out first, but we're still not done with this story. So what are they gonna spoil? They're possibly gonna spoil some stuff from this series that's gonna piss me off. You know.
Um, I mean, listen. You know what? Personally, I think this could be a good thing, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Um, I mean, and it's the thing. Like when you talked about the actors, uh, I could see them. And somebody brought it up in the chat. Ricky Hunt actually. Um, that they could bring in they could bring back the same actor for Leaf because Leaf apparently was there during the long night.
They, they didn't even bring back the same actor for Leaf for season 6.
You sure they didn't? Are you sure they just didn't change with the prosthetics?
No, it was a different actress.
Oh, okay. I mean, so we'll
Which
see what
actress?
happens. With
The
that
the
one.
the actress for the one that was throwing the fireballs, that was Leaf, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a different
Okay,
actress.
I thought she was more computer generated, so I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think Jerry's right because she did look completely different if it is a different actress. But yeah, this actress they can. I don't think because they're gonna wanna. Okay, and this is what confuses me. This is the most successful show HBO's ever had, and they obviously we've talked about them cutting out stuff for budget reasons, but this is my thing. They're not even going off, they don't even really have source material, but they could just fucking unleash the budget if they want to and fork it out to make some money if they want to, but are they going to be cheap? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to not put whatever they want? I don't know. I just hope they fork it out and it's just epic. That would be great.
I mean, well, from what I remember, first heard about them even developing prequels. Period. Supposedly HBO is putting uh seven money season one of for the prequels. Mind you, we're this is just a pilot for right now.
Yeah, it might that's one thing I do want to stress out. This is a pilot. It's possible that HBO passes on this. Like they decide they see the pilot, they're like, let's give one of the other ideas a try. No, so we do not know that this. It's not a guarantee that this just because this was chosen first that this is going to be the one made into a series.
Well, does that mean, okay, so when you guys say it's just a pilot, does that mean they're possibly going to test out the pilot and not show the whole first season, or?
Well, no, when you do
Usually,
like Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction, she was on a pilot, but it never got picked up, so she was never on TV.
yeah, usually they'll do a pilot, they'll give it to HBO. HBO will review the pilot, and they won't even put it out to the public if they don't decide they're going to do it. So they could just get the pilot and say, "Fuck this."
We still haven't even seen the pilot for Game of Thrones, which was supposed to be kind of mediocre, actually.
Well,
Right.
apparently, in the original pilot for Game of Thrones, they had fucking Brandon getting choked. The whole Brandon and his, I can't think of his father's name right now. But
Picard.
they had that because there's a screenshot of what looks like Ned Stark, but apparently it was Brandon on a noose, and you could see the Mad King in the background. But like you said, apparently the original pilot was very bad, and they didn't like it.
Right. So all right, let's say they do pick up the pilot, right? Let's say they do order a series.
Okay.
What are things you guys would expect to see other than obviously Children of the Forest and at some point the White Walkers? Because the way that it's kind of being reported is that it's going to start off during the Age of Heroes, end with the long. So, um, what are you guys expecting to see? Now, Jerry, you said you're expecting Winterfell, and you think they're not even going to bother changing it. Personally, I think that they are going to have a smaller version of Winterfell, something that's not as expensive. Show like supposed to be, um, a more primitive version. Now, I'm not expecting a ring
Let,
for
let
it.
me uh let me rephrase that. I don't expect them to act. I expect them to reuse what they can of Winterfell. I don't expect them to take the effort to remove anything. If there's anything to make it look like that they need to add, they'll just get that and make it look a little smaller.
And I mean, knowing HBO, they're really going to want to show. I believe they're going to want to show, obviously, Land the Clever. I think they're going to want to show him taking Castle Rock and really building up House Lannister, because obviously we know that they're going to want to have those connections. So I
Right.
expect that to be a prominent thing. I imagine we'll see Bran the Builder. I sure hope so, anyway. Uh, and hopefully maybe we see some of some of these houses being like the early stages of these houses will be interesting to see.
Now this
Well,
See,
is
here's one thing I have an issue with, and it's the same thing I had an issue with the Solo movie, is that they tried to squeeze every single piece of backstory in just one setting. Um, so yeah, like even though like James says, they want to fit Landon Clever, they're gonna want to fit Garth Greenhand, they're gonna want to fit Brandon Bill, they're gonna want to fit all these things in, and they're gonna want to make them all happen at the same right at the same time, in my opinion.
well. Here's my question, right? Because I was thinking about this. Um, when I heard that they decided to do from the Age of Heroes is supposed to be a long period of time. Um, so the thing that I was thinking, it could possibly be an anthology and told by like an older Stark. Any thoughts on that being
Too
possible?
complicated. That'd be a good idea. Too complicated though for HBO telling. Like maybe you could see that on a Netflix, but not this.
I mean, no, but
I
I'm saying, real quick, LT. I just want to say,
okay.
like how, what is it? True Detective. Like you could have each season be like a different period, and
I think it's too complicated. No, I don't think they'll do that.
okay, LT.
I don't think they'll do it either, but I would love to see it. Um, Another thing I'd want to see, because HBO kind of pussied out with this show so far until the last few seasons with the battle scenes. They pussied out, and like I never understood it. Vikings, I've said this numerous times. Vikings, which is on the History Channel, has way more battle scenes and it has a way lower budget than Game of Thrones. So show fucking battle scenes. Don't just do like the scene where Whispering Wood or whatever, where we just see Tyrion get knocked over and it's over. I want a fucking battle scene. And I know it won't be the same as battle from what we got in our current story, because obviously, but yeah, I want to see some battles, some wars, some blood.
I mean, I think that's really going to depend on the ratings. I think at first they're going to obviously be safe, so don't expect any battles at first. If the show is successful, expect some hard homes.
I'm predicting the first scene of this series right now. It's gonna be because Jerry said they're gonna show so many Starks, or maybe James. I can't remember James. Well, anyways, the first scene's gonna be a Stark by a Railwood. Yeah, I predicted it.
It's also kind of like that's one of the problems I had with the Dune when they went back and tried to tell the story. It seems like every single house that from the beginning all got rise at the same, like all the major like it just seems so unlikely that they would all rise at the same time, you know. And I think that's what we'll get here. I think we'll have the rise of Lannister, rise of all that at the same time, which is, in my opinion,
you already know
not.
it's gonna happen. Just look at
Oh, I
the
know it
track
is.
record of the show. It's gonna happen. That's just how it's gonna happen.
I mean,
Oh
well,
yeah.
yeah, Sarah C in the chat room saying, perhaps each kingdom might get its own backstory.
I don't think so.
Prob
I mean, see, here's one thing. Because George on his Not a Blog, he says he would have titled it The Long Night, which makes me think that this is going to be very Long Night centric. They're calling it the Age of Heroes, but I doubt there's really much but the end of the Age of Heroes. It's just going to go directly to The Long Night, in my opinion.
Hmm. I
Otherwise,
mean,
why would George call it that? Say that, or why would George pitch that for the title?
right. I mean, look, it makes sense that if you were going to do the show, I mean, if let's say they do, you know, 5 or 6 seasons, right? First 3 seasons be pre Long Night. End of season 3, uh, you get end of season 3, you get the creation of the White Walkers and their first march, and then the last 3 seasons is the war against the White Walkers.
I mean, it's possible.
Um, now, real quick, I wanted to talk about some of the things that we absolutely would not get if this happens to go through to series that I think
Okay.
a lot of people may not be fully aware of. For one, there would be no King's Landing. Period. Point blank. King's Landing
Hmm.
would not exist. There would be no Iron Throne. And I think that for people who are kind of more surface level with the TV show, they watch it, they like it, but they're not really, into the mythology behind it. That might be a little bit of a turn off, depending on if they are invested or not, because it's not going to be, uh, who's battling for the Iron Throne, because this will be the time of the Seven Kingdoms. Uh,
Even
as
really before that, I don't even know if I don't even think the Seven Kingdoms are formed. A lot of them, I think, are still petty kings.
I mean, but
Like the Boltons might still be kings. The Barrows or the what do you call it? The what,
yeah, the what you call it, the Dustins, yeah, the Dustins.
Dustin's would be kings.
I mean,
The
well, on it,
Danes would be kings.
but I think that they would probably wind up
You think the
simplifying it
show
down
the
to,
show will
yeah,
simplify it down
yeah, they'll
to
probably distill it down to Seven Kingdoms. They'll
okay.
probably
I
uh
agree with that actually.
yeah, they'll probably distill it down to the Seven Kingdoms. And by the end of the series, like, oh, wouldn't that be crazy if somebody actually conquered all this and made it into, you know,
I got
um,
I got a question for you guys.
hmm,
Do you guys think that if they do land the clever, that could be a few episodes, or could it be a whole season? Like you're saying, if it's an anthology series, do you think Land the Clever could just be knocked out one episode?
No, Land the Clever is definitely going to meet the Stark Hero at some point. They're going to team up and fight the White Walkers.
yeah,
Also, I just wanted to throw this out there because I just thought about it when LT was talking about what he was predicting to be the first scene of the series. My prediction for the first scene of the series is going to mirror the Game of Thrones kind of first scene of the series where they went with more of the supernatural. I think that the first scene of the series will be the signing of the pact on the Isle of Faces.
yeah. I
Really?
could, I could, I could definitely see that. And especially for the people who are for the people who are wondering like what happened and why the Children of the Forest created White Walkers. I think that scene pivotal showing that. So another thing other than King's Landing that we would not get the Faith of the Seven. The Faith of the Seven would not exist. We would have First Men. Yeah, we would have no Andals. We would have no Faith of the Seven. This would be 100% First Men, uh, and their recent conversion to the old gods, as they as yeah, I'm not even sure like what they called them before they were called the old gods. So I think that might be pretty interesting. Because the Faith of the Seven is definitely something that is shown prominently in TV show. Oh, but that means we would also get a lot more weirwood trees as well then. Because remember, before the
I think
Andals
they
showed
actually
up,
might put in the Faith of the Seven in there, and just because they want to.
How the hell would the Fates of the Seven be there?
It's because,
Show logic.
yeah,
wait,
just
remember,
because.
wait, hold on. This ain't D&D doing it, man. All right,
Oh,
D&D are not
we'll
going to
get to
be.
that in a little bit, but I think HBO is going to do whatever the hell they want to do.
I mean,
Well,
All right, let's
they
get to the main. Let's get to the big thing that's not going to be there, and that shouldn't be there, but I think will be there because HBO is going to want it there, and that's freaking a dragon or two.
well, look, if you look at certain stuff in the books,
Oh, there's hints. I get it.
yeah,
That's it's hints.
yeah, there's hints that there were dragons in Westeros way before Targaryen,
Hmm.
and in fact, someone brought it up earlier in chat back.
I bet there is going to be a Targaryen that's going to come from. He's going to come on his dragon. He's going to be like hello, I'm such and such Targaryen. I'm Jerry the Targaryen from from
They'll call him
Valerio.
Denario.
Denario the Targaryen from.
Oh,
You see me flying my dragon? I'm here to help, Mr. Stark.
oh, scenario.
It almost sounds like Dario.
Mm-mm. I
Dario
mean,
Targaryen.
I could see them doing that, but at the same point, I don't. I mean, listen, man. I don't think that the people at HBO think that people who watch series biggest.
Oh bullshit! They don't. Bullshit! They don't.
If there's
I can see it in my head now. They're gonna have. It's gonna be the end of an episode. A dragon comes flying in, and it's gonna be an introduction of a Targaryen, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, oh no, it might even be a woman Targaryen. I don't know. It's a woman warrior Targaryen. Uh, it might even be a woman named Daenerys. I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna happen if the series does get picked up. It'll happen. It'll end the episode because they think that the audience will be like, "Oh my god, there was a dragon after all." Oh my! They think they're gonna be the most clever person. They think they're gonna be Land the Clever. That's what HBO thinks they're Land the Clever.
So let me ask you guys a question. You guys don't think dragons are cool?
They're cool in the right context. Anything's cool in the right context.
Oh, I mean, I don't really love dragons or hate them. I guess I'm neutral, whatever. But I wouldn't hate it if I seen them. That won't bother me if you know if a dragon's in there. It won't piss me off. What bother me is if there's not battle scenes.
Hey, fair enough.
More likely to be a dragon than there's a battle scene, a big battle scene.
Hmm.
So what? So go on out down, Willie. What else are we not gonna see that we really are gonna see?
Okay, so what we shouldn't see, what should not be there, two major things in the north: the Wall and the Night's Watch. The
True,
Wall
true.
and the Night's Watch should
That
not
isn't
be
gonna
there until like the end of the series.
right.
this is true, and
I think that's one thing they do get right.
I hope so because like it's supposed to be one of the main points is the creation of the Night's Watch after this. Like this is the reason why it's created, and so hopefully they don't fuck that up. And also, I hope we see some Boltons. They said in the Age of Heroes that Boltons flayed Starks, so we better see some Starks getting flayed.
Yeah, that
I
would
thought
be
that was a myth.
no. It wasn't a myth.
There's no, but there's no. They said it's like a they don't they
Who
don't know
showed
for
you the
sure.
Theon? You think that's a myth?
Yeah, I mean,
No, okay. All right, so maybe a Stark got filleted or two, but the room where there's cloaks of Starks, they don't know if that's true. That's like a
That's probably true. I mean, we're talking about a long period. No doubt they got some Starks in their time.
now
Yeah.
the other thing I'm wondering. Oh, so the Manderleys shouldn't be there. Um, the Manderleys
oh
shouldn't be
neat.
in the north at this time.
It's not
Neither
like
the
they will
Black.
be anyways. After the way they embarrassed the Manderleys in the show, the way T&D said they're a bunch of wishy-washy, unloyal guys. No, there's no way.
Yeah,
The
nor the is it the Blackwoods or the Brackens that were they should be in the north, right?
the Blackwoods
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah, the
Um,
Yeah.
Blackwoods.
Daisy Kowalskowski, I'm sorry, I can't say your name. She says, I hope they show the start of the Night's Watch. I believe that will be the last scene of the series. I imagine.
Actually, I think they will form a party and they'll call themselves the Night's Watch as they go and they fight the others. And they'll be like, "We were the first Night's Watch." It's gonna
Yeah,
be
but
like the Avengers or something.
I can see that too. But I just think like the actual formal forming of the Night's Watch, as we know it, the iteration we know it, will be the last scene of the series.
Yeah, I agree. Like, where they make the official. Yeah, I agree.
Let's see here. Who else or what else will not see?
Will we see Nisa?
It's a good
I,
question. Well, I mean, there's been no mention of Azor Ahai in the show.
I mean, well, here's the thing. Because all right, so we don't know if it's going to be 100% Westeros or if it's going to be Westeros and Essos. If it's 100% Westeros, then definitely no Nissa Nissa shouldn't shouldn't be because yeah, if it's not going to take place in Essos at all, then we shouldn't be getting Nissa Nissa or Azor Ahai. The most we should get is the last hero. And for those of you who are confused, last hero is not Azor Ahai. Read the story; it definitely they have two totally different story arcs. The last hero is the guy who formerly founded the Night's Watch.
I mean, they
Um,
might be the
And
same,
Azor
but they might
Ahai,
just be two different
Azor Ahai
stories of the
is
same guy.
Jon Snow, or Stannis Baratheon, or Victorian, whatever you think.
now what I do think we could get, I think we could get Tyrell, but it would be the Tyrells would be background characters definitely, because
Do you think they'll just make Garth Greenhand a Tyrell, just to make it simple?
no, I think that they would have Garth Greenhand and they would show like, oh, this is my steward, whoever Tyrell, the like my Castellan or whoever.
See,
So
I don't think any of these guys are going to be king. Like, I don't think Garth is going to be a king. I don't think they're all going to be. I don't think any of these guys are going to be like established. If that makes sense, we're going to see their journey, and they're all going to happen at the same time.
could be. I mean, oh, also no Tullys. Not gonna have any
No
Tullys.
Tullys.
Uh, now there isn't much mention of the Iron Islanders at all, so I don't think we're gonna get the Iron Island.
No.
I mean, we should though, right? Because that was like the Great King of the Iron Islands, right? That was the thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
like the way that it talks about the Iron Islander,
They
like
might
that
not just
time,
not go to that area. So
yeah,
they
it
just
kind of it
ignore.
kind of almost seems as though like the Iron Islands wasn't during the because I mean like they don't have any legends about all the about legendary hero during the night, fought against the first man, whatever. It's kind of, and in fact, uh, the Iron Islanders talk about themselves as if they weren't even part of Westeros until like the last few hundred years. Kind of like, all
Yeah,
right, well, when uh what's this whoever was from House Horror that before Karen Black seemed kind of like when they decided to invade the Riverland is really when they really interacted with Westeros.
yeah, but they could have the Great King tell Land the Clever he's gonna stick a finger up his bum.
Oh God, come on, man.
I think we can. Okay, let's talk about Jane Goldman because being a finger of the bums, we know that was a pure David and Dan playing grab ass kind of thing. What do y'all think about the choice of Jane Goldman? If you're not familiar with her work, she's basically been writing um, Matthew Vaughn's coattails for a while. Uh,
Oh,
so at least she's around the right people. Um, most of the things she's been attached to has been good. Stardust, Kick Ass. Um, if you like the X-Men First Class or Days of Future Past, um, the first Kingsman, she was part of that. She's had a few stinkers that she's been a part of, but I don't know if that's their fault or for anything that's her fault. This Miss Peregrine's Home for Particular Children. She was attached to Tim Burton directing, and we all know what he's been doing lately. Um, the second Kingsman wasn't very good, but I had probably more Matthew Vaughn. So what do you think, guys? What are your? I mean, George has high praise for her, but we know George has the ability to be honey dicked, as
I
we saw
mean,
with Dave and Dan.
I think it's hard to say until we actually like see the first couple episodes. Then we can start making some judgments. But until then, she's only been writing movies and stuff. We'll just have to see how it works with this, how she comes up with this. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
I agree, but at the same time, I'm like, at least from what we know right now, from what we've seen from her compared to what we've seen before Dave and Dan did it, she's a hell of a lot, at least appearance-wise, because we don't actually know how much she was involved in making a lot of the decisions and the writing and all that. But at least appearance-wise, it looks like she's 100 times better than Dave and Dan.
I mean, look, I'm hoping that uh I'm hoping that George's faith well placed. Um, I'm definitely excited to see what she's bringing to the. I mean, personally, the stuff that she's done with Matthew Vaughn, at least the first parts, because Matthew Vaughn, for whatever reason, doesn't really like doing sequels. The movies that she put out with him, I like them, so um, I can't see any problem. Oh, I can't see any problem with it. And Jerry, personally, not sure writing Matthew Vaughn's coattails is an apt description. I'm pretty sure she a lot further involved, or else George wouldn't have decided to pick her. For
We'll find out. We'll find out. We know Matthew Vaughn has got the goods, and we know that all of the good things she's done has been when she's with Matthew Vaughn. Like I don't know if she's Luke Longley or Scottie Pippen, so we'll find out.
I mean, well, you know what? Ricky Hunt brought up something a very good point, and that is he hasn't had anything as bad
Exactly.
as X-Men Origins.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I said 100 times better than at least on paper. If you compare her to what we had when Dave and Dan took over, 100 times better, maybe a million times better.
Well, I mean, I would also say that she could also run into studio interference, HBO interference. They could be like, you need to put this in there, you need to have this in there. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to. The producers could meddle. I could see that happening as well.
So is she just a writer? Is she the producer? What is she?
Showrunner.
Showrunner. Same thing as D&D. So probably have
instead of there being two, it's just one. She's by herself. She's got all the control.
I mean,
well, a lot of shows generally have one showrunner. It's pretty rare. That's HBO or Game of Thrones is more of the exception than the rule.
Right, and the thing about it too, one thing that that the Game of Thrones series itself was kind of criticized for heavily, not having a writer's room. A lot of your best shows usually have a team of writers. It's not just boiled down to 2 or 3 people that are controlling the entire narrative. So I think if she's able to get a good writer's room to help her craft out the story, then well, I can't see it failing, man. I think that HBO is going to learn from the mistakes that were made with the original series. And mind you, the original series still isn't the worst thing ever when you get down to these last couple of seasons, because we've seen a hell of a lot worse. But I think them not having a writer's room and having it just be Dave, Dan, and Brian Cogman hurt the show, and I think that HBO is going to learn from that.
I'm definitely, trust me, I'm definitely happy that it's not Cogman. I'll put that out there. Yeah. I'm happy it's not Cogman.
Yeah, I agree there.
Big E is trying to hurt everyone's feelings right now, saying Kathleen Kennedy will produce this Game of Thrones spinoff.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man!
Oh, come on! Don't do that! Come on, man!
I'd rather have fucking George Lucas come in and do the showrunner and like have Azor Ahai light the flaming sword with midichlorians than have Kathleen Kennedy be in charge.
Oh my god! All right, now before we dip off into that, let's get back to
Yeah, let's get back to this.
yeah. So man, all right. So what are some other things that we will not see this particular series? Because I do want people, if they do jump into the series, to kind of be prepared so that they don't go in thinking to themselves, "Oh, we're gonna get you know more of the same," and it's totally not going to be that because you're talking 10,000 years, bunch of history. Oh, I'm
How historically accurate do you think it's? Because I mean, this
well,
is considered like Elio and Linda went into a good discussion about how this is the Bronze Age. Everything's there. There's no castles. It's all holdfast. I don't think that's going to be. I mean, yeah, that's true in the books. I don't think. I think we're going to see some castles.
right.
Um, I
I
don't
mean,
think.
I think we're gonna get castles because remember during the Age of Heroes, we should have the beginning of Winterfell. We should have Storm's End, and we should have the High Tower.
Mhm.
So at least those three landmarks should have in some form. And I'm not sure if the Erie was around then, but it's possible that we get the Erie as well. But at least, oh, all right. So look, Casterly Rock, because Landon Clever stole Casterly Rock from the Casterly, or possibly uh, Winterfell, some primitive form of Winterfell, at least the base of the High Tower, Storm's End, and then
I might just skip the Veil. I think. I don't know if anything in the Veil is worth bringing
I
out.
mean, just
yeah,
from a just from a business sense, I imagine they're going to want to reuse some
Yeah.
assets.
yeah, of
Oh, for
course,
sure. For sure.
of course. But remember, there's still a lot of it that was also CGI as well. So
Yeah, but they should at least have at least the props, the things that they like the green big green props that they did to take place of a dragon. You should still have those things like that. Um,
um, so see here, I'm
well,
trying to think.
technically Garth the Green Hand shouldn't show up because he's from the age before the Age of Heroes. He's in the Dawn Age, but I don't think that's gonna matter. I think they'll put him in here.
Yeah, well, yeah, not Garth Greenhand, Garth Gardner should show up then because that was one of the founder of House Gardner and one of his sons. Um,
I mean, I thought they'll get that complicated. They'll just put a Garth in and they'll be like, hey, this is Garth. They might even make him a Tyrell, in my opinion.
all right, so Dorn. We also will
Nope.
not have the Andy Dornish or the Salty Dorn. I'm not. I don't know. There's like
Salty.
all right, because I know there's like three different kinds of Dornish, and this is going to be all First Men.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So it's just gonna be like Danes.
right. So we'll. I mean, should get Danes, possibly
I
Ironwoods.
don't even think they go that like if it's gonna be called the Long Night. I doubt they even go to Dorne. And plus, we
Possibly.
know what the show did to Dorne, so I'm just gonna
Uh,
say they're just gonna skip it in general.
yeah, I would think that if they would have introduced the Danes on the show, we would definitely get some Danes in this. I don't know if they're going to want to bring in the Danes without any prior knowledge for the casual show watcher.
Yeah, all
I
we have
mean,
is Arthur Dane from the show, and
see,
that's it.
but here's the thing though. Like remember before Baratheons had the Durandon, who were the holders of Storm's End,
I wouldn't be
and
surprised if they just put in a Baratheon, even though it doesn't make sense.
that would be all kinds of.
It would, but who cares? It's only gonna be it's only gonna be like us.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's
honestly,
gonna really notice it.
the casual show, I would say 95% of the Game of Thrones viewership has
Maybe
no,
higher.
they
Yeah.
wouldn't, yeah, like 97% wouldn't know the difference between any of this stuff. They would not know if
Yeah, exactly.
they changed all that stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that would actually kind of hurt my heart. It
Trust me,
would.
I'm putting myself in the minds. I know how these executives work. That
Me too.
they wanna reap nostalgia. They want to
Mm-hmm.
hit what people know. So I could see them changing all this history up just to make the connection between the shows.
Okay, so then here's another question. Then. Do we get Maesters? Because technically, the Maesters should not exist
Yes.
either.
Yeah. It might not be like the Maesters that we know. It might be more like a Friar Tuck kind of person. But I think we get a Maester type person in this. Maybe we get someone who starts the Maester thing, the original Maester.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
you know what's the funny thing? Like I've read through everything that I can about the Maesters. I'm not sure exactly when they showed up.
Maybe his name will be Maester. I don't know.
No, but it's funny though, because like there's nothing on exactly when the Maesters showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when did they show up, and how did they convince everyone about the Seven Kingdoms? Because remember, the Maesters were in the major houses in the Seven Kingdoms before the Iron Throne. So, how in the world did they convince all of these different houses for past couple thousand years? And hey, yeah, we got these people in a kingdom that you're not part of. You send people to this kingdom to get educated, and then they get parceled out to teach your kids and be the holders of knowledge.
They
That's
need a
the one
doctor,
thing I'm still trying to
and
figure out.
the maesters are the doctors, and they need people to deliver
They
babies.
need a three. They're gonna need that. They're gonna need that 3-team. What do you call it? That 3-team trope. They're gonna need a McCoy, a Maester. They're gonna need the hero, which is gonna be a Stark, and they're gonna need the smart guy, which is gonna be Land the Clever. Spock, McCoy, Kirk trio.
That's gonna be interesting. All right, all right. So you guys think we getting any Essos, and if we do, what will
Does
we
Valeria
see?
count?
Yeah,
Yeah, then
Valerian
I think
Essos.
there's gonna be someone coming in with the dragon to save the day at the end, like when they're in peril, and they're gonna join their journey.
Okay, well, I mean, no. Do you think we get Valyrian Empire or Giscari
No,
Empire or
the
ET?
Valerian Empire will be up, even though they're not supposed to be up. But we'll see that there will be talks of the Valerian. We won't actually see it though.
Okay,
They'll just mention it.
what about the Giscari or ET?
Won't even talk about it.
I think for the most part, it's going to be very Westeros centric.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Oh. Definitely no faceless men.
I wouldn't count on like. There's nothing I wouldn't say definitely against.
I mean, well, look, the faceless men should not exist because there shouldn't be a Bravos.
There
Uh,
shouldn't be. But they're
so
not. They might not mention a Bravos, and they might just have a faceless man show up, and he might be kind of similar. He might just kind of show up and be kind of like a weird guy, kind of like the Irish guy in Braveheart. You know what I'm talking about? He's just kind of one of those type of characters. They have a faceless man joining the crew.
So you think there could be like just a guy, not a group, but just a
Yeah,
guy.
just a guy. Like they're not gonna go to Bravos or anything like that, but there might be a guy that's a faceless man that's part of the crew.
Um, let's see here. Nine Nichols is saying the
Hey,
first man.
just piggybacking off of that. Hell, they could even have Jack and Hagar in there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. Bring
It's
him.
just
They could bring him back. There's no mention of his age, or
yeah,
it could be like
like I said, they've had that face for ages.
exactly.
well, real quick, and I guess this relates to when we were talking about the Maesters. Nine Nichols in the chat says first men use the alchemist. Um, Now another thing. Ricky Hunt is saying isn't Valeria only 5,000 years
Well,
old?
that's yeah, exactly. Well, that's my point, Ricky. Was that I was saying that they're just gonna do it, even though it's not. It's
Yeah,
not. They're just gonna do it because that's what people are. That's what the casuals are more familiar with.
I mean,
yeah,
well,
Ricky, we're talking from the perspective of what we think the executives might do, because we know that they're not beholden to what is fact in George's world. we know that they can change things up to
In fact,
appease more to the casual fan.
I would say they've already done it in part of this thing with the with the Ninth King. There's no Ninth King in the book. The Ninth King in the book is completely different than the Ninth King in the show. So I mean, we're already getting that Ninth King is here. So
and there's a lot that
they've already done it. They've already changed things.
Do you think there's any other region we could possibly see that we haven't possibly?
No.
Somewhere
Here's the
else?
thing. Here's the thing. James said on it earlier. They're not going to want to add too much new stuff. They're going to want to reuse as much as they can before. So if we haven't seen a region, we're probably not going to see anything new. We're probably going to revisit old regions, and then the new would be fighting the others going up north. That would be the only new I could think of.
Okay.
We might have some epic other battles going on here.
All right, so let's just run down a list of things that you guys are thinking that technically should not be in here based on the timeline, but you think are going to be in the show. So, number 1,
Dragons.
Faith of the Seven.
Yes.
You guys are thinking the Faith of the Seven is going to be there?
Maybe. I think they could, but I'm not a strong yes.
I think it won't be there. I'm saying no.
James?
I don't know. That one I'm a little lukewarm on. I don't know.
It'll either be just not mentioned or they might be there.
Okay. Number 2, Valerians.
There'll be a Valerian in there.
Probably.
LT? James?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Valerians.
Yeah, they'll be mentioned.
Okay. But will there be a Valerian character coming? I say yes. There'll be one Valerian character.
Okay.
A Targaryen at that.
Okay.
I can see it.
Okay. Let's see here. Faceless men, or at least a faceless man.
I'm calling out Jack and Hagar. They're gonna fucking have Jack and Hagar in there.
You know what? I'm gonna roll the dice, and I don't say I'm not guaranteeing it, but I say 70% Jack and Hagar.
Okay, LT.
Maybe I'll give it 10% chance we see a faceless man.
Okay, Iron Islanders.
I'm giving it an 80% chance we see an Islander.
Nah, I don't think they're that popular. I mean, they don't even like the Island Islanders, show watchers.
All right.
Yeah, that one I'm tepid on as well. I don't really have an opinion on that.
Maesters.
Yes.
Some form of Maester.
Yeah, maybe the first Maester.
Now.
Yeah, I agree.
Here is an interesting one, because since there shouldn't be a wall, if there is no wall before the end of the series, do we get Wildlings?
Yes.
So you think even if there's no wall, we still get Wildlings?
I mean, they'll be a bit different. I'll say they will be different. It'll be more like just wild people in the north. They're not gonna have like this. It's not gonna have the same bitterness. It's just that they're gonna have the wildling culture up there.
Okay.
I'll say we'll have something similar. They won't call them wildlings, but they'll look like what we the personification of wildlings in the show. So we'll see.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, they'll have like the furs and the leathers, and they'll kind of have the big beards, and they'll be talking foul. They'll be similar to what the wildlings have been depicted on the show.
LT?
Yeah, I agree with James.
All right. Let's kind of something else that
I got something. Hey, Willie, I got something. Do you think we'll see? All right, if we're gonna see White Walkers, because they're probably not gonna do it in this series in the last season, but will we see ice spiders?
I'd love to see ice spiders. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, at first I thought no, I left it off. But you know what? I think I was wrong. I think we'll see something. If we might not exactly see ice spiders, but we're gonna see something. Like they got something cooler than an undead bear. That I'll say they'll have something bad. Something like that.
Right.
Something equivalent of an ice spider. How about that?
All right. Well, let's see here. Um, Nine Nichols asking was saying possibly they could do something with the Gemstone Emperors.
I don't
I
think
thought
the
that's
show
even
would.
mentioned.
Yeah, the show they don't like to do the obscure things. I just don't think that's not what they're into.
All right. Let's see. Ricky Hunt in the chat is asking, how about Skagosi?
I would say no
No, they
because I
got
think
cut from the show.
if they wanted Skagosi, they would have had him on the show. They had opportunity to do it on the show and they didn't. So I'm gonna say no on that.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anything that I haven't mentioned that should not technically take place during the Age of Heroes that you guys think you might see? Start off with Jerry.
Like I said, I think Garth the Green Hand is going to be in there. I think we see Barat. I think we see everything similar. I think we see a dragon. I think we see familiar things that people love.
Okay. James?
I'm gonna say that we're gonna get a character that has never been mentioned before in the books, and he's gonna be exactly like Bran. We're gonna get a Bran clone somewhere in there, a Bran clone.
Absolutely makes sense. LT?
Why can't we just use the same actor?
Yeah, it'd be Bran's great times 800 grandfather.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
like
No, you know what?
named
You-
Rob.
Whatever, no. He'll be Bron's 800 times grandfather, but he'll be played by Liam Cunningham.
We're gonna see a Stark that resembles Kit Harington, not to the T, but resembles him a lot, and that's gonna be his ancestor, like a Stark ancestor. Watch.
I don't know. I think we might get a pretty boy Stark actually, like a real like Kit Harrington. Like a lot of girls find him handsome, but I think we might get a Zac Efron looking Stark. You know what I mean?
Catlin in the chat asked, what about a Kraken?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It would be cool, but I don't see it.
Let's see here. Ricky Hunt asking, any lord or king doing the rite of the first night?
No.
No prima nocta?
If they want to be shocking, I mean, who wants to see that though? You know, I mean, unless
I
unless
agree with
they
LT
do
there.
something, unless they do something similar to Braveheart, like where somebody gets married in secret and they get revenge. I don't know. I don't think they would do that though.
Yeah.
Bruh.
That seems like it detracts too much from what the show would be about, which is the long night.
Well, my last question for you guys, because I'm pretty sure we're just about done. Is there a possibility that we see
Leroy Dragons!
You know about Bruce Leroy? Bruce
uh,
Leroy?
Le- Leroy
The Last
Jenkins? Oh man. Nah, any final thoughts on this before we cut out of here?
Yeah, I do want to ask everyone. Okay, this is going to be another series of questions. So, what do you guys think the chances are of one, that the show actually gets picked up? Two, that the show, because remember, even if the show gets picked up, it could get canceled after one season if it doesn't if it's too if people are Games of Thrones out, like they got fatigue, kind of like how people got Walking Dead fatigue, and then they got and then the show just doesn't deliver very well. It's too different. It's too whatever. What do you think the chances of it being canceled early? And then what do you think of the chances if it keeps going? One, if it keeps going, well, no, let's do those two first, and then I'll ask you the next two questions. So let's start with the LT. What do you think of? One, it getting picked up after the pilot. Two, of it remaining on for its full length.
This is HBO. They don't cancel shows that often, So I think it's going to be successful.
Okay, Don Willie.
Regardless, because if it's good or not, because what do we have? We have a lot of idiots that watch it.
Wow.
It's not, you don't think so? You don't think it's gonna get his John from Cincinnati treatment? HBO isn't gonna go John from Cincinnati on it.
No, this is remember what I said before. You guys can hate Dan and Dave all you want, but this is the most successful show ever on HBO. It surpassed The Sopranos. It's like you guys hate Dan and Dave, but in the mainstream, Dan and Dave are gods. They are, and that's the thing. So they're gonna take a chance on this, and they're gonna milk it for all they can.
Don Willie, what do you think?
Um, listen, if it makes it past pilot, um, it's the gets the traction that you would imagine. I can't see. Look, unless it does a hard nosedive like The Walking Dead has been doing lately, and that's a really hard nosedive. Unless it starts doing something like that, starts falling falling off like one of our other favorite sci-fi series, then yeah, I can't see it not getting its full run.
All right, James.
I think 100. I think 100% it's gonna get picked up. I trust me. I know a lot of casual fans that are all over my Facebook feed. They fucking love this fucking show. Even though I hate it, but they love it. And they're like all crying about the fact that we don't have season 8 yet, and then they're all crying that it's gonna end after this season. So the demand for this show, even though I think it's misguided, I think it's fucking stupid. The people watch it, and it's gonna get picked up, and it's gonna be successful. So that's the bottom line.
Okay.
All right, so I'm thinking it gets picked up. I think it makes it through season 1, goes into season 2, and then at that point, it depends. I could see it flopping at that point. So I give it a 50-50 on that. I can see it getting canceled if it doesn't live up to expectations in season 1. It'll get season 2 a second chance, and if it still doesn't live up to expectations, it'll be cut. It'll join Rome and Deadwood. Cut early.
I got a question for all you guys. So I'll say my answer less. What's the and this is individually your guys' opinion. What percentage is there that you three are gonna like this show? Like it.
I think I won't ever like it as a Song of Ice and Fire thing, but I think I have hopes for Jane Good. What's her name? Jane Goodman. Jane Golden, or what was her name? I already forgot it.
Jane Goldman.
Jane Goldman. I have hopes that she can make an entertaining show that's so different from so removed from A Song of Ice and Fire. I have hope that she'll make something I like and enjoy. I'm not gonna like it as an Ice and Fire fan, but I might like it as just just as something to watch. Just something fun. Does that make sense? I have an idea that I have a hope that this could be fun for me.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a fair shake. I'll watch it, and if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, it's bad. So I'm not going into it saying, man, the show is gonna be dog shit. There's absolutely no chance to be good. If it's good, it's good.
Listen, I'm gonna give it a fair shake. Like I said, I think that Game of Thrones, that the not Game, producers at HBO will definitely learn from whatever mistakes the original series, and that they will correct those mistakes next coming along. So I think that this is about a 95% chance that.
See, I don't think that the executives think they made any mistakes, so I don't know about that. Okay, so I had one more question, or two more questions to follow up. I think we'll end it here. So first scenario, say the show is successful, say the show as well. Do you think they will make another show to go concurrently, like Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, to go because they mentioned that they might have more than one show at one time. That's the first question. Second question: if the show doesn't either get picked up or it gets canceled, will they try a different idea? And if so, what will the idea be?
Well, I can tell you this much: if they have another show, I'm done. I'm done with it. I won't watch it, and I'll leave it at that. It's too much.
Okay.
LT.
I'll take as much medieval wars battle scenes that I could get, so I'll be down with it. But if they do it, it'll probably be after the second season. I don't think they'll do it right away. I think they'll wait and see the success of this. But like you said, if it is unsuccessful, and it doesn't do well, then they'll probably try another idea.
What idea do you think it'll be?
I don't. I think it'll be something different. I don't think it'll be nothing we know again. I think it'll be maybe some random story. I don't think it will be anything we know.
You know what I would watch? I would watch like the frontier of Southros, like an expedition to discover Southros. I would actually watch that if they did something like that. Something that is not tied into any lore, so it doesn't that they can do whatever they want, and it's something new and different.
Now, Willie, those two questions.
Right. So, I don't think that they would do both shows simultaneously. Look, remember they're putting a lot of money still into Westworld. So, if anything, I think that
I imagine Westworld will be done by that time.
Well, I don't know. Westworld's supposed to be like maybe 5 seasons, I think.
Well, did you watch the last episode of Westworld? I don't know if it's going to make it 5 seasons.
I mean, look, that it is what it is. But the point that I'm making, I don't think that they would put the money into it while Westworld is still going, if it is still going at that. But personally, I think a good way to go would be Sunset Sea.
You mean if it somehow doesn't get picked up or canceled?
Right.
Go with the Sunset Sea idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because it's not like people in the Game of Thrones, the regular TV show, haven't asked what's west of Westeros. So, I think Game of Thrones, Sunset Kingdoms, or something like that.
You know what I would watch? I would watch a Salvador San like show, Black Sails, like a Black Sails like show starring Salvador San doing like pirate shit. I would watch that. Give me that.
Yeah, we haven't seen Salo in a while either.
That would be cool. As far as what I think, I don't think we'll get a second show. Well, one, I don't think the show is going to be nearly as successful as the Game of Thrones show was. I think, yeah, I don't think it will be. And then, so I don't think it'll get a second show. If it does get canceled some way, somehow, then I'm going to go with my Magor idea, where I think it'll be George R. R. Martin and shit stain himself, Cogman, that will do a Magor show.
Very, very possible.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
we need this show to be successful. Actually, I need it to be, just so fucking shit stain doesn't get a hold of a fucking show himself.
Okay, wow. Oh man, so yeah, this has been great as always. Want to do something real quick on this one, kind of give our thoughts on where this prequel could possibly go, and any other possible spin-offs as well. Yeah, we will be back later this month with a reread. James chapter. James, what chapter was it again we got for you?
It's the Theon chat. I forget the exact. It's Theon 6 from Clash of Kings, I believe.
All right.
The one where they lose Winterfell.
Yeah. So
there you go. Ricky Hunt's on it. If they cancel the series, we're gonna get HBO wild cards.
All right. So yeah, man. Make sure to join us for that one. Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Of course, thank you to everyone who will later. hopefully you guys like the intro. I spent the I'm trying to get that worked out. Uh, yeah, and so for guys here, because nobody is, none of us are doing videos. We're only doing these right now. Only doing a little live stream. But yeah, for the guys here, my name is Don Willie. We are the Hype Swatch. Signing out. We will see you for the reread. Like I said, look out for that one. Twitter timeline of yeah, for everyone else who will be watching us later, Bella Dohiris.
Cobra Kai never dies.
Are we off?